The Honourable Nanaia Mahuta, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. If this was a vote purely based on choosing a symbol, I think it would be quite easy. But it's not. Symbols do matter. Flags of a country, a nation matters. And what Labor is saying is that what sits behind the flag, the constitutional arrangements, are so important. Yet, this particular bill has reduced the debate down to process, not principles and priorities. My colleagues have been absolutely right in pointing out the inefficiencies of this particular process. The government is treating Kiwis with contempt about significant questions affecting them. It's not simply good enough to say, let's choose a flag, and then the issue of the national anthem, that'll come up, and then let's discuss that, and then maybe the Governor-General. That's constitutional creep. It's not constitutional reform with a purpose that takes New Zealand confidently into the future, and the Prime Minister is treating Kiwis with contempt because those significant issues aren't being put in front of this very important issue, which is the question of what symbol should best represent us as a nation. Now, I heard the contribution made, the impassioned contribution made by the Māori Party. And in part, there are lots of members who, in this House who would agree with that sentiment. However, choosing a symbol before the very legitimate debate about what should our constitutional arrangements be and what should the place of the treaty be, I think that's in advance of a very important type of consideration. Mr Speaker, I predict that the New Zealand flag will be changed. But I also predict that should this bill go ahead in the way that the government is promoting, very soon we will see in pockets of New Zealand a number of communities who affiliate with a particular flag flying their own flag. Is that a symbol for the country? I think not. Is that the type of New Zealand we want to see, where people will have an affinity with different types of flags and fly them because they cannot have an attachment to the outcome of this referendum? I think that's the worst outcome of all. And what I'm really fearful of is that the way that this particular referendum is constructed, it'll be a flag for the 1%. 25.7 million spent on a process to deliver a flag for 1% is not good enough, because out in simple communities where people want to make a living, they're saying a flag or feed children, a flag or warm homes, a flag or providing houses in our community for people who need it. That's the type of consideration that people are weighing up when they're listening to this particular debate. 25.7 million on this exercise, asking a question in advance of some significant weighty issues around what the constitution of this country represents, what the symbol of identity represents, is, I think, a farce in itself. Now, people who know me know that I have no particular affinity to the New Zealand flag, but I will defend it for what it represents for this country. The history in my own particular area, we have a particular flag for our iwi, but we will defend the New Zealand flag because we understand it is an evolving sense of identity that we can hold on to, that holds the Crown accountable to its commitments to tangata whenua, to Māori. Now, Alfred Naro, the member, raised the issue of Matt Rata. Now, Matt has said a number of things in his history. When he made that particular comment, it was just before the fisheries settlement. Now, the fisheries settlement was the first pan-Māori settlement where the government attempted to do something I believe, quite progressive. Underpinning that comment, I believe, was his understanding that the treaty had a place in the future of New Zealand. He established the Waitangi Tribunal. He led the challenge for this pan-Māori settlement, which could transform the nation. And just on Wednesday, we have had numerous debates around how Treaty of Waitangi settlements have transformed the national identity of our nation. Well, the world has moved on, New Zealand's moved on. Our national identity is progressing. However, underpinning the choice of a flag must be the constitutional arrangements of this country. And that's why, Mr Speaker, I stand in support of colleagues of the Labour Party opposing this based on process, but more fundamentally based on principle. Any symbol of this country must give all Kiwis confidence that it's something that we can all hold on to. This one doesn't.